From London to New York, from Tokyo to Singapore, from Beijing to Paris, all economic activities have been weakened by the sudden outbreak of COVID-19. This is not only a reminiscence of the Black Death that's sweeping the European continent in the middle of the 14th century, or the plague of 17th century London. It is feared that, like dominoes, COVID-19 will not only slow down the pace of the global economic recovery, but also destroy globalization. COSCO Shipping is the important carrier to get through the lifeblood of the economic globalization. COSCO Shipping ranks first in the world in terms of comprehensive capacity. How does such an industry giant, which is closely related to the global economic trends, perform in the globe when the COVID-19 is spreading?
The coronavirus outbreak is certainly have some impact for the global economy and the shipping industry. I'm Wang Haimin. I'm Vice President of the COSCO Shipping Corporation. I can show that about 1,300 vessels is sailing around the world now. We worked 7 days, 24 hours, even under the severe situation, to guarantee these supplies on-time delivery. Up to now, we have transported more than 120,000 tons of medical supplies. Since February 10th, we have about 1,035 subsidiaries in China resume work. We believe when the outbreak is faded, the demand will rebound rapidly. China's importance in the global supply chain and the industry will not be undermined.
The WHO judges that COVID-19 is not only a super epidemic that spreads across the globe, but also a large infectious epidemic that might be controlled for the first time of human history. David Gosset, a French scholar living in Shanghai, agrees with this view. He also gives a long-term forecast of China's development.
Of course, China has been facing a very, very severe crisis, but this crisis is not going to fundamentally change the course of history. The Chinese Renaissance is here to stay, and it is going to change the world. My name is David Gosset. I have established the Europe-China Forum in 2002 in order to deepen the links between Europe and China. We have not only seen a resilient China because this coronavirus was a shock. The shock is being absorbed, and by the way, I expect a rapid recovery of the Chinese economy. And when you declare victory over such a crisis, you become stronger. This crisis will not affect the Chinese Renaissance. It might even accelerate the Chinese Renaissance.
According to the statistics from the International Monetary Fund, China's contribution to global economic growth has exceeded 30%. Professor Ian Goldin is one of the most authoritative scholars on globalization. In his view, this epidemic has made the world realize China's huge influence in the global economy, and its engine is still full of power.
Very different to SARS in 2003, when China was only 3% of the world economy. Today, it's more like 18% of the world economy. I'm Ian Goldin. I'm the Professor of Globalization and Development at the Oxford Martin School in Oxford. These risks, like we saw in the financial crisis, the super spreading or the financial crisis, cyber attacks and viruses, and we see the super spreading of pandemics. This is a necessary underbelly of globalization, what I call in my book the butterfly defect of globalization. Globalization has been a force for immense progress in the world, including in China. It is the reason why China has grown so quickly over the last 30, 40 years, because it has opened up to the world and become part of the global economic system. What we're seeing now with the coronavirus is a shock to China and to the world. It will slow growth, but this will be a temporary phenomenon. I think we will see recovery, and in fact there might be even some higher level of growth as we catch up with what has not been done during the period where there's been quarantine and disruption to supply chains. So I do not see a disruption to the long-term trend.